Mr. Turkington, what's up?
Happy Thursday to you, bud. How are you?
I'm doing wonderful. We have reached that spot. And you know what that spot is in the market where there's some disturbing news coming out on some articles. The Wall Street Journal put one out yesterday, as well as Housing Wire, about some folks that we're not going to call it predatory lending, but not good. Why don't you explain a little bit what's happening right now?
Yeah, so the mortgage industry and loan volume that's being originated is a fraction of what it was last year. No surprise, the increase in interest rates have eliminated a lot of the refinance opportunities that were abundant before. So as loan volume decreases, these big companies they have fixed costs or expenses that they need to continue to pay, and they have salespeople. And the shift in that sales approach goes from what's good for you, the consumer, to what is good or required or needed from the company side of things. And it can totally shift the emphasis or the urgency that's placed on the consumer, or they can be getting bad information.
All right. So what caught my attention was I'm going to read this. Lender strives to pivot to purchase mortgages and persuade its customers to get cash out refis, all while trying to cut costs by voluntary buyouts and attrition. And then the other article says the company has tried combating the decline by shifting its efforts to functions like selling mortgages and encouraging customers to pull cash out of their properties. Those were the ones yesterday that I saw it and I just went, I know it's happening. I try not to think about it. We have referred over 100 people this year to get home equity lines of credit as opposed to writing a cash out refinance.
Well, why would you do that, Kirk?
The points and the fees and the rate that they're wrapping all of this debt into and extending it over a 30-year period of time is insane. All with the hope and promise that once rates go lower, wink, wink, we're going to take care of you. We're going to hook you up.
It's enough to make your stomach queasy. Or I imagine when you read that, you're like, I knew it was happening, but when you see it and it's in print and you just kind of want to throw up. It's just not the kind of stuff that if you were encouraging a close friend or a family member, you would not encourage them to do that. There's a better alternative. Accessing equity in your home to improve your overall debt structure or your net worth is a wonderful idea, but there's some asterisks there that, a home equity line of credit in today's environment is a much better option than doing a cash out refi. It just makes sense in every way. Very, very few instances right now should somebody be refinancing their primary mortgage to pull cash out. Very, very, very few. And just, I can only imagine the tactics, the encouragement, the stuff that's being said to slough over doubling your interest rate and wrapping $4,000 to $6,000 in costs into that loan and not making that apparent. It's just not cool.
And you're saying, well, how could this happen? How could they actually be getting away with doing this? Isn't there some kind of rules that were put in place that said this can no longer happen? Well, what you guys have to understand is consumer debt, credit cards, loans, personal loans, car loans, what they're doing is scrubbing through applicants' credit reports and finding those with the greatest amount of consumer debt. And they're taking 30, 40, 60, 80 grand of consumer debt payments, and they're pushing them together and extending them over a 30-year term, which to that person who does not know there's an alternative actually shows an increase in cash flow short term.
It's so lopsided in the lender's favor to do that loan than it is the consumer. If you were 50-50, I get it. But when the bank or the lender has 80 to 90% of the benefit of encouraging that product when there's other things that may suit that need, that's just the part that it's not right.
It's ridiculous. All right. So how did we get here to the spot where we've referred 100 people to get HELOCs? What is going on? Why are people needing to access cash right now? What is it?
All right. So, we're fortunate in that home values have jumped substantially in the last 3 years, right? So we may see anywhere from a 25 to a 45% increase, maybe even greater in people's homes value. So that catches their attention. But the driver is, as every month that goes by, wages are kind of stagnating. Things are getting a little bit tighter. Costs of borrowing are more expensive. So people are accumulating consumer debt, and it's really becoming apparent to them that I don't like paying credit card balances that are at 20%. I'd like to use some of my home equity to consolidate my bills to reduce my cost of debt so I can pay it down faster. And if we have a scenario where somebody refinanced, let's say a year and a half ago, and I'll just use round numbers, they're at 3.25%. They owe $250,000. They want to get access to 25 or 30 grand, maybe to consolidate or maybe to improve. If we take that $250,000 and we increase the rate on just that part to 7.25%, and you have to pay a couple bucks in mortgage costs to get it, as opposed to going to get a home equity line of credit, where today those interest rates are going to be around 7%, but there's no upfront fees. So when you look at the blended cost, the $250 at 3.25%, and we'll say $30,000 or $40,000 at 7%, that blended interest rate is still well under 4%. So that's why we say you need to go investigate this home equity line of credit, because interest rate wise, your cost of debt and your cost to get that loan are substantially lower than us looking to do a new first mortgage for you. So it's simple math for us to encourage that. And then, usually that's received really well. And then we say, all right, hang in there. Because if that equity loan starts to become a burden at some point, 1, 2, 3 years down the road, and prime and mortgage rates sift back down, let's reserve the right to do that cash out mortgage on the big loan until there's better timing.
Makes total sense.
In a perfect world, you pay down the equity loan and you don't ever need to refi. But some people
we're in the button pressing world of, hey, I got an app and it says go to here, and if I press here, I can apply online, and I'm not going to ask any questions, and I'm just going to do that, and look at that. And
good point.
So going forward, let's swing into January. Let's turn the calendar year over. We know that people aren't going to stop. They're not going to stop spending money. That's just not going to happen. Inflation is going to take some time to cool. So your paychecks keep getting eaten up. That's going to continue to happen at least for another quarter. So you got to relax a little bit, and you need to speak to your financial advisor and or your mortgage broker who can help guide you through this. Between the two of those, they're going to be able to help you, point you in the direction where you should be going and what you should be doing, even if it's just taking another credit card and moving some monies over to that card for a period of time until we can get some cooling on all of this chaos right now, because these mortgage companies are desperate right now. You are seeing desperation because earnings are down, profitability is gone. They have people. I spoke to one of our bank reps yesterday, and he kind of chuckled and he said, well, they can't even find 40 hours worth of work for them to do. For the people that are still there, it's insane. There's no paper to push right now when rates have gone from 2.5 to 7.5. It just doesn't work. So be careful about who you speak with.
No, it's a good point, because, you know, one of the things that, even though there's not a lot of refi conversations going on right now, but one of the questions that I always like to ask is, okay, good, you had that conversation. Are you comfortable, or do you feel confident that they've given you every possible loan option that may suit your scenario? And, you know, this will be the third time I've said it. It's just not right when the bank or the lender is pushing their agenda as opposed to figuring out what the customer's real need is.
And they all have points on it right now. Everything they're offering is showing 1 to 2 points.
Because if they don't charge you points, the interest rate will make you hurl. I mean, you'll throw up. So, you know, they have to encourage, you know, the buy down loans, that all kinds of things to try and make it palatable so that they can get their hands on it in one transaction. And again, if it's right for the consumer, I get it. But what we're feeling is it's not right for them in most situations.
All right, guys, like, subscribe, follow us. We put these lives out once a week. Additional information hits our YouTube channel, Instagram accounts, etc. Thank you for that, Ken. Great information. Hope it helps somebody, and please share it. See ya.